Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel and this video series called From Trash to Treasure, where I will fix broken old items that I found on secondhand markets or in trash. I will repair, restore, repurpose whatever needs to be done. Maybe I will make some artwork. This video is showing how I made a smaller camping axe for my father-in-law's 80th birthday. So usually I have a pretty clear idea in my head of what I want my things to look like, but I usually draw them out just to solidify my plans and to see if there's anything I've overlooked in my mind before I start cutting and making stuff. These table legs are, I found them in the trash. I recognized they were teak. I brought them home and I've had them laying around for 7 years. I'm using a quickish set epoxy. I guess 30 minutes work time. So I pre-clamp without too much pressure and then I wait 35 minutes before I really clamp down, and I leave it for 24-ish hours. This is, to my recollection, it's a German branded epoxy called Balta AH110, and I use the SR hardener. It's a rapid, to my recollection, 30 minutes work time hardener. I'm not showing it, but I changed this belt 5 times, I think, going from 40 grit to 120. by far the most time consuming is this hand sanding of the axe head itself. Probably spent 5-6 hours in total, including my mess ups and scratch removals. I'm working my way through all my papers up until 800 grit before I polish on machine. I have laminated together 2 pieces of teak because I needed the width to make a comfortable handle. I will cut this teak down to length. I'm actually just flattening this thing. I need one flat surface so I can start squaring off everything. So now I will split. And this cut will be where I put the mahogany veneer and the aluminum sheet. This piece of aluminum I bought 10 years ago or something, maybe less, for use in a boat. So I don't remember exactly the name of this aluminum, but it's probably 6000 series, so 60 is something. It's high corrosion resistance, not too hard, it's easy to machine and cut. So when I laminate metal and wood, I need a rough surface. I need to have a good mechanical bond. You will see me later make this aluminum surface fairly rough. When I make something, I want it to last for a lifetime or more, so I will go for the best possible bond. And this being mechanical, 100% mechanical bond, this is where I create the bonding surface. same epoxy. And I just roughly sand down the surface of the teak. I cover all the surfaces in a thin layer, and as long as you get this done within 30 minutes, you're good. When you make thin layers like this and put together, you achieve kind of a priming, at least in the wood parts. The epoxy will go deeper if you do this immediately after mixing, within maybe 10 minutes. And same principle, I just lightly put together and I wait 30 minutes before I clamp. This is actually an older clutch motor from my FUF 145. So I have a pedal-driven polishing wheel based off of my old sewing machine motor. The polishing is straightforward. Use any kind of polishing wheel and some polishing paste, and this is after 800 grit. I like projects like this, where I have some pieces of metal, some pieces of wood. When one thing is hardening, I can work on the other, and vice versa. So aluminum is good at transporting heat, but still it gets hot. You don't want it to be really hot. It will soften your epoxy and mess up your laminate, so don't overdo it. Check the heat on the metal. So if you don't feel comfortable holding your metal part that is embedded in epoxy, you will probably need to reclamp. I'm just squaring off again. I didn't want to sand 5 millimeters of teak. It would just take too much time. I'm not too concerned about the ergonomics. I just want it to be comfortable to hold, and I want a big knob on the end so you can really exert some power with this one. This is probably when people start understanding what I'm doing. To me, this is really satisfying to see different pieces come together. So I drew this logo. It's just a simple 2-letter symbol in a circle. It's the initials of my father-in-law. He is Bulgarian, so he uses acrylic. So I'm making this acrylic letterhead thing for his ex. I'm trying to figure out what the inside shape of the axe head looks like. Just to see if there's something I need to take into consideration before I try to fit this thing. It's internally, this shape is impossible to fill without adding something after. So usually axes are made from solid wood handles, and they are, I don't know what you would call it, they plug it from the opposite top side after you insert the handle into the axe head. But in my case, I will not plug anything because I have a massive piece of aluminum inside my handle, and I have a laminate, so if I plug this thing, I will just destroy my laminate. Yeah, I'm really careful here. I do not want to mess up this first cut. When I'm out of the workshop, I have no clamps, nothing in my home. So this just freehand. This all looks very efficient and quick. I guess I spent half an hour or something. Because I want a good fit, I don't want to over remove material. I want to remove as little as possible. I slowly take away a half millimeter until I can fit 95%. I will hammer or squeeze the last part. So this fit is perfect for me. Good enough for me to do some finishing on the handle itself. I have one paper specially made for metal and wet sanding, and I use it dry when I do this laminate with metal inside. I actually am careful. I try precision sanding the metal, and then I can use the wood sanding paper on everything afterwards. I have bought these brass stamps of eBay. I use this one usually for my leather projects. This one I heat I think 40 seconds with the blowtorch, and it's a little bit on the warm side, but it turned out okay. I mix epoxy with decorative glitter. It's like children's play stuff, but I mix in the smallest shavings from the aluminum to have almost the same matte finish. So I want the logo part to be metallic, and my signature brass stamp thing is burnt into the wood. If you've done any boat stuff or knife work, you know this method of making like a paste, buttery paste, peanut butter. It's sawdust from a mixed assortment of hardwoods I just have collected. They are 90% within the same color, mahoganies, teaks, all these. So for this filler, I'm not trying to fake the wood. I don't care if it looks like I used the filler, because I used the filler. And then I usually, not always, but if possible, I use fresher epoxy without fillers to smooth out the surfaces. And you can see me use my finger just to dab on some untreated epoxy, and it really saves you time when doing finishes. So this is stainless steel tube. Same logic as when using aluminum. I will make a strong mechanical bond. I use two different epoxies. One quick set, it's 90 seconds, and one slow set because I will bring this thing home with me and continue. So I fill the center with a slow curing epoxy, and then I put quick set epoxy outside. You can see the filler is almost gone. I started off with a file and then worked my way through all the papers one more time. And because some of this glue was on the top, on the head, I used water, sanding. I use this oil for everything. It's Hardins. I'm guessing this is a Scandinavian brand, probably Swedish. I have no idea if this is better or worse or anything. I have it. It's cheap. It soaks well. So you just treat your wood, let it dry, and you wipe off any remnants. I also use this wax. I was trying to get a polished finish, but actually this wax, I didn't feel it did anything. So another homemade machine. I cannot just buy any machine I want, so I found on sale these grinding wheels made by Turmek, and I had used one, I think it was the T6 or something, in a workshop where I was employed long time ago, and nothing compares to these leather belts. Also for detail work I use this cake design leather thing. I made this machine. It's a permanent magnet 24-volt motor controlled by a simple PWM. I can change direction and change the speed. I'm not going to shave anyone with this axe, of course, but just for the video sake, I cut some paper for you. Here you can see my axe is really starting to get the look I want. But this being high carbon steel and also sharpened to basically razor sharp edge. I want to protect this edge. Axes are tools you will mostly just use until they're broken anyway, but this way you have a means of protecting, and you can oil this leather, and the oil itself will make a perfect protection over super long time. So I tried first to sew these two pieces together on my machine, but turned out it was not strong enough. The motor is plenty strong, but there's a slippage on the drive belt, so I had to manually punch through all the holes. I could have stopped, of course, but I wanted to keep going. 4 millimeters stitch length was perfect for my saddle stitch anyway. But yeah, I cannot sew this on my machine, so I just manually punched through both pieces of leather in the machine, and then I traced everything after and did my normal saddle stitch. I tie off the ends, double stitch, one tying loop on each side, and that's it. You should probably not bake your leather unless you are extremely pressed for time. This is not the way to go. I did it this time to save time. I have to ship this axe off, so heating too quickly will probably make the leather, in addition to shrinking the way it's supposed to, it will maybe curl up on the ends, and it did in my case, and I had to shave off a little bit, but I wasn't too worried. This is not fine art or fancy knife or anything. It's actually just protecting the edge of the axe. So I was fine with it, but don't expect this to work if you are going for a pretty fancy finish. So you can see the leather curled up. It's not a problem in my case. I don't mind the leather being rough. Believe it or not, I'm using olive oil, extra virgin olive oil from Greece. You can see the leather is saturated with oil, and it retains the oil for a long time. I figured I would make even more personalized, so I cut this wooden box on the laser cutter in the workshop. it will just add a new layer of fanciness, and of course, maybe more importantly, protect this thing when I ship it. Oiled, colored, I've burned the edges, and I have filled the box with wool. This is salvaged sheep's wool that I have washed and treated, and I use for packaging material. So that's it, guys. My first video in this series, from trash to treasure. And this axe I made for Ilya. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for watching. If you like this, subscribe please, and please comment if you have any questions. Thank you. Bye bye.